Thank you for watching us. Thank you so much for following our social media, and thank you to sharing with your friends. This is Amir Lahijy live from Los Angeles, and we are going to talk to Dr. Payam Kade. So, Dr. Payam Kade is from Los Angeles. He is psychologist. He has a doctorate of philosophy in psychology, and he's very busy in the last couple of weeks. We couldn't find him, and usually he just give us one time a week. What's going on, doctor? You are super busy. Welcome back.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Amir.
Hello,
How are you?
hello. How are you?
It's good to see you again.
It's a pleasure to see you. So,
And my apologies for not having enough time. I'm sorry about
no, I'm
that.
so happy for you guys because unfortunately there is more problem with people, and they have lots of problem, and all of our psychologists, they are so busy. In the good news, but in the end, I know you are not happy that much to see all of people that are in stress and lots of problems, right?
Of course, it's that. And then, of course, as you know, I work for the County of Los Angeles, so we are
Mm-hmm.
revamping a lot of things and making a lot of changes to our
Right.
programs to bring them online. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the classes that we teach are now going to be, or have been
Mm-hmm.
for a long time online. So it's a little bit challenging these days,
Right,
to
right,
say the
right.
least.
So, why people I don't want to ask you why people they don't want to accept the reality, but first we need to know uh, what's what do you think, and how do you express what does it mean reality for you?
As you know, throughout history, reality and truth,
Mm-hmm.
or life in reality, life on
Oh my,
earth, has been
yeah.
debatable, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
been debated through science, through philosophy, through mathematics, through psychology, through sociology, you name it. Like
Right.
almost every category of science you look at, they debate reality, and they debate what is the true, what is truth. So there is really not a very simple definition, in my opinion, at
Mm-hmm.
least, for reality, because a lot of people may say reality is basically what you see right now, right in front of you. It's right
Right.
here, right now. That's reality, right?
Right.
Simply simplify it, reality is what you can show others, what people can see, feel, and experience. So reality is pretty much within the paradigm of what you're experiencing at the moment that you're in. And then, of course, we should be able to explain reality purely in terms of matter and energy, right? That's how people experience. They say it's hot, it's cold, it's windy, it is not. So it's a form of energy that constantly goes through life, and we come across that energy, and then we see a lot of the reality in matters. So we look at a tree, we look at a pool,
Right.
or we look at a piece of furniture that is in front of us. So of course,
Right.
there is a lot of debate that physical reality can be explained through mathematics, as you already know, and I think that is actually fantastic. There is other truth that comes from reality, other explanations of reality, but the truth of the matter, in my opinion, is, and I hope I don't make this a confusing subject, but reality
Oh,
oftentimes comes back to our perception, right? You and I are right now, we're both wearing glasses.
right.
Imagine that our thoughts, that our being, our feelings, everything else is connected to the experiences we have had throughout our life. What we have been taught, what we have been told, what we hold to be true or false. So basically, our experiences, not expectations, I apologize. Our experiences goes through a filter. This filter, everything that we experience goes through our nervous system before it gets to our brain, and then it gets to a point where it's differentiated between what is real and what is not. Now, so basically what I say reality basically is like it's our own interpretation. The reality for you is pretty much not the same as the reality that is for me. Every human being experiences reality in a different way. You may jump into a pool and say, oh my God, it's so cold, right? And I may jump in and say, oh, this perfect temperature. We're both experiencing the same type of water, right? It's water temperature. But we have our own perception. We go through our own, it goes through our own nervous system and gives us a message: it is cold, it is warm, it is a perfect temperature or not. Now,
With this
it's like
example you said, with these things, exactly this thing you said, but the truth is temperature is 75.
Right. The truth is also, so I'm going to explain something else before we get to truth.
Yeah, and then we are going
yeah,
to have what's the difference between truth and reality? Because
of
reality
course.
about the, same example you said, the temperature of water was different for me and different for you. But the reality, its temperature is 75, for example. This is a right example or no?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Please go ahead.
And I'm gonna explain it a little further.
Please.
Our perception changes also based on, like I said, experiences we have had, and also if we have experienced a damage to our brain, or if we have a very serious psychological damage. For example, if God forbid someone is schizophrenic, they may experience reality in a very different way, right? So it goes through their filter. What they are experiencing is not really the reality. They're experiencing their own thoughts, which they think it's real. For example, we may be standing in the same place, in the same space, talking to each other, and they may say, well, did you hear that noise that is coming from outside? And we don't hear it.
Right.
Yesterday, our cops were following me. 20 police officers wanted to catch me. They wanted to kill me. Literally, they talk like that. So they have delusions and illusions that don't exist, but it only exists for them. So not every reality is very close to what is real. It depends on whether you have a serious issue with your nervous system, if you have serious psychological issues, or have had some kind of a brain damage. So the reality really changes. There are a series of experiences that you have is not necessarily linked to what is real and what is right in front of you. Now, life in reality, in more of a psychological term, because of course a lot of people, philosophers have a different version of what is real, right?
Right.
Living in a physical life involves us experiencing welcome and unwelcomed experiences, meaning that we experience anything that is good and anything that may be bad, right? But it is different from and very distinct from what we're experiencing in our mind in terms of a fictional world that we may create, or a dream that we may have.
Right.
Those are not real, even though some people may really believe in them so much that they think it's actually real, right? It's like having a nightmare. You wake up from a nightmare and you really think that you were actually experiencing that. You were there, but you were not. It was just taking place in your own mind. So there are a lot of different versions of situations or thought processes that we go through that could be more fictional and maybe more geared towards our dreams and our belief system, that what is actually real and what is right in front of us here. So I hope that's a little bit easier.
Yeah, it was profound. Very good. Thank you. So, do you want to explain more about the difference of reality and truth?
The truth and reality are very close to each other. Reality, as I said, and
maybe
the
it's
truth,
confusing.
Right. It does become absolutely. Believe me, it is confusing for myself as well. And when I want to explain it, it's not that easy.
But that example, it was very good example about the water you said.
If I take a client through an experience, I try to bring a lot of examples to bring them closer to what kind of a thought process they have towards this, in terms of instead of giving them a definition of a truth and reality, right? So I want to say something else, and then I'll say something about the truth. Imagine that we sit down and we listen to a orchestra, right? They're playing. You may have a distinct um, experience, or because of your past experiences, or because of what you have been trained for, or what have you. You may hear a song that I may not hear in the same music that we are both listening to. You may listen to the music and say, oh my God, look at that guitar player in the background. It's so wonderful. And I'm like, what kind of a guitar? What guitar? I don't even hear it. Right? So you may have been tuned in, or you may have been trained to pick up on that sound and distinguish between the guitar and the rest of the music that you're actually hearing in the same music that everybody else is listening to. Life is like that. The more we experience things and the more we acknowledge and understand, and we come across different experiences in life without putting too much judgment on them, we get to distinguish different things in life that we experience. So the life, in a way, becomes more real for us.
Right.
Because we experience it. You may pick up the sound of the guitar, and then you may pick up the sound of the violin, and others in between, and the music experience for you becomes much more fabulous and fantastic and fulfilling than it may become for me, because I'm not really tuned in or trained to experience it. So this is like a very simple example as to how we can experience reality in a very different way, much more profound, when we open ourselves. And the reason I say that is because to really understand the reality that is in front of us, we have to experience it by educating ourselves as well. And it's not just going through books. It's about linking with other people. It's about experiencing everything, like literally touching things, being in connection with everything that is in life, that is on earth, and
So,
then experience life in a much more profound way. And we understand it but much better when we do experience it that way.
so,
If we, oh, sorry,
no, no,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to go to truth, but
Yeah,
please,
please.
no,
No, no, no,
you
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I want to ask you exactly the same thing. If you
The
want to go to
truth
truth.
is, the truth is, I don't have a very good definition for the truth.
Wow.
It is extremely debatable. It is extremely debatable, because if you go back to the even time of Jesus Christ, truth was explained through his teachings, right? So he would say what the truth is, and a lot of people right now, thousands of years later, they think that's the truth. I am not saying it is not. What I'm saying is there are different truth, just like everything else. It also depends on how we filter it through our mind, how we filter it through our own past experiences to say if it's true or not. However, truth is more in accordance to what is fact and real, what is authentic, what can be proven, right? Truth is subjective, and it is our view and our belief. But it's also, truth is also something that we can maybe prove, right? So if I say the truth is, I just saw, God forbid, 50 people getting murdered, I can actually bring a picture of it, or I can take somebody to the scene of the accident, or where the crime occurred, or whatever, what have you, and show them so they can experience it. So then that statement becomes much more truthful, because it's very close to fact and reality, and it's authentic. I'm not just coming up with an idea and say this is the truth, right? So for example, when we go back, and I hope nobody gets offended, I'm just making an example. If you go back to the story of Jesus Christ, somebody might debate, no, Jesus actually was not a person. And somebody else might say, no, 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 what are you talking about? The truth is he was a person. I can prove it to you. How do you prove it? You prove it through books, through information that is provided, but you really do not have anything very subjective. It's very subjective. Your view and your explanation is subjective. You don't have anything in reality that you can attach to it and let that person truthfully experience. So they're not really experiencing. They either believe it or they don't. So some people may take that as a truth. Some people may not. Some people right now debate that masks don't work. They actually truly believe it. They hear, or they have seen studies, or they may have what have you. They may believe it is not. The truth is masks don't work. Other scientists, doctors, whatever, a lot of other people may actually believe, no, masks do work. And we have reasons to prove and to show that it is actually working for all of us. So we have
Right.
to wear a mask. So it's that's how the truth is really associated with how you filter that information. There is really, I truly believe that there is an ultimate truth, just like there is an ultimate beauty, an ultimate right and wrong. There is like maybe the ultimate lives in the skies, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it lives with God.
Mm-hmm.
But I think everybody else truly strives to get to that truth. They never make it as a it never becomes a 100% certain truth. We just get close to it, as
Oh.
close as possible. It's like proving a case in court. You come close to the fact and the
Mm-hmm.
truth because you produce a lot of evidence, but it's not 100% fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the closest you can get to it.
Mm-hmm. So, if I bring a story, please make it clear which part is reality, which part is truth. I saw an accident, and it was a hit and run. So, and then I was thinking, fact is, it's not good. The person hit and he ran. He didn't stop.
Right. I think that also comes back to our perception. We do not exactly know what was the reason for that accident. We do not really know if that person was taking off to go maybe take care of something, maybe take himself to the hospital. Maybe he had somebody in the back seat that was about to die and he had no choice but to. His intention was not to run.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a different way of looking at it. And that's why when a case like this comes to court, it comes to what you can prove, not
Wow.
what it is, right? It's about what you can prove in court. So
Okay.
if that guy says, yeah, my mother was in the back seat and she was choking
Mm-hmm.
on something that she ate, and I was rushing her to the hospital, my intent was not to do a hit and run. Yes, there was an accident, I get it, but I was trying to save a life, so I ran to the hospital. That could still be a hit and run, but was his intent to run? No, his intent was to save someone's life. So the reality and perception, our perception of it is when we look at that incident, we quickly come to a conclusion based on our past experiences. Like I said before, we go based on our past experiences and we say, oh, that was a hit and run, because either that's what we have been told,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we have seen on movies or pictures or TV, media, whatever, or that's what we believe. It was a hit and run. So we quickly jump to conclusion that was a hit and run.
So,
Just like the music that I was explaining, when
right,
it's based on our
exactly.
own past experiences,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the closer you are to your experiences, the more you judge things and events that you see with the experiences you have had in the past.
So, as you know, all of our audience can send a message and questions in our app and website. We have a
Got it.
couple questions, but before going to this question, I have another thing in my mind. In the last couple months, with all this, the situation, quarantine time, and everything, people acting different way. Some people sometimes react, some people respond very well. Some people they don't want to hear any news. Some people they want to know just local news, what's going on, light news. Some people constantly, all the time, they're watching news, just on news channel. So, and then I saw a lot of people. They are coming, especially on social media. They said we don't want to watch any. They call it bad news, but I said is not good news, but is reality.
Right,
We need to know that, by
right.
my opinion. So, what do you think? What's going on in their mind, and they don't want to accept the reality?
I think we have to distinguish the two. Uh, Bad news that they see on social media, some people are they're 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 much more resilient, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they have a different mindset. They have a different personality. They have they basically have a different coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
They can look at the same material, right, and don't get too excited about it. They may not get depressed about it. They may not have hyper anxiety or hypertension because of what they're observing. Other people have a very different experience. So while it is for some of us to look at that information and say, oh, this is information that is useful. We have to educate ourselves so we can protect ourselves, right? Or at
Right.
least protect the loved one, or see what's
Right.
going on in the society at a
Yeah,
very
at
simple way,
least to
right?
know what's going
At the
on.
very least, yes,
Yeah.
what's going on in the society. But then we have to understand that not everybody, like I said before, see it, not everybody has the same reality. It is not the
Right.
same for everybody. It
Right.
goes through their it goes through their filter, it goes through their nervous system, through their experiences and the way their personality has been designed, the way their personality is, the way their coping mechanism is to deal with a situation like that, and the way the more resilient they have been or less resilient that they are, they react differently. One might get really upset and offended, or might say, "Don't even show me anymore. I don't want to see anything. I just want to see positive stuff," because it may be more difficult for them to digest it, deal with it, and put it away, right? So that is completely understandable by me, because a lot of people, a lot of times I actually post things myself, and people write a lot of negative information under it. They're like, don't post anything negative. What is wrong with you? Be
Right.
positive.
Yeah.
We expect you as someone who is educated to do this and do that. They
I saw it
even
a
in
couple days ago
right.
on your
Right.
Instagram.
So, and right, and my response is usually, I'm trying to, as best as I can, provide an information that I think could be useful
Exactly.
to every single person that is coming across the information. They could use that either to judge me, or they can use that information to benefit themselves or someone in their family. I do not know what the answer to that is. That's based on their own observation and the way they pick up the information and how they process that information. It's not up to me. I look at a lot of negative information every day, and I have a very good coping mechanism. I deal with it very easily, process it, and put it away. I'm like, okay, this is useful. I can use this, or I can share this with someone else, or this is not really that important to me. I'm just going to scroll up or scroll down and go look at something else. So it depends on, mostly it depends on coping mechanism. And of course, it also depends on some of the people, and I hope people don't get offended. We see a lot of people on social media that are very polarized, right? And by that I mean, if they're very Democrat, if they're very Republican, information that is being shared affects them differently. Meaning that
Exactly.
if I share an information that is going to be maybe a bad news for their party, they may react very badly to that news. Like, why are you posting this? This is fake news. Remove this. This is garbage, or whatever. And if you go back to, if you post something that is very democratic, or against the Democrats, a Democrat might write, "What are you talking about? You do not have the truth. You do not know what you're talking about. You shouldn't be posting this." So it's not just the personal experience. It's also our belief system. Just like everything else, our belief system is derived from everything that we have learned and everything that we believe in, whether that's through the education that we have received from our parents, whether it was a value system that we picked up in the society or within our family system, or whether that information was given to us through our party or through a media that we believe in, our religion, what have you. There is an array of information that comes through us, and then we pick up some of those and we make them our own value system, our own belief system, and what we think is appropriate and good. Based on that information, and the way every information that comes in goes through that filter. So
Right.
it's completely understandable for me.
Right, right, right. So, and now the question. Kelly asked, I'm not watching and listening to news, but if I see something on social media, I got nervous. But I like to read it, but what should I do with my feeling?
Um, I first of all, I want to say congratulations for not listening to the news too much. Maybe you should watch movies. It's probably better these days. But I think no matter what we do in the society that we live in, we are exposed to good and bad news, right? We are exposed to all kinds of information that may trigger something in us It may bring us to the state of panic. It may bring us to the state of anxiety, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, God forbid, tomorrow we wake up and they say, what, 5 more million people have got COVID-19, 200,000 people died last night. Are we going to be going to a state of panic? Absolutely. I mean, if you're not a human being if you can't experience that. But then we have to make sure that we put it in the right shelf. So what I would say is that information coming in, is it directly affecting me? Do I have any past experiences with negative information? Do I change so quickly? And do I experience anxiety? Do I get depressed when I see that information? If that is the case, then maybe I shouldn't be connecting myself with so much information that is negative and hurtful,
Mm-hmm.
because I cannot process it that easily. It hurts me. It affects me. So stay away from it. It's like jumping into the shower when it's 120 degrees water temperature. Would you jump in? No. If you think that is affecting you and it's going to hurt you, change the temperature a little bit. Don't expose yourself to that environment. And that's probably the best thing I can say. And of course, when you see an information like that, you have to judge, is it about me? Is it going to impact me? So there is a lot of things that happens in life, in society, but is it going to impact me? If it's not, then I should maybe distance myself a little bit from my experience. Like, I'm only feeling this because of what I'm watching, but not what I'm really experiencing. It's not what's happening to me.
So, uh, let's see. Okay, another question. uh, there's a couple all the time, they have argue about watching news, and then the man, his name is George, he said, I all the time told my wife, at least we need to know what's going on around us, and she don't want to accept anything. She don't want it. How can I tell her, at least we need to know what's going on around us? So the simple answer.
I wish I would have a simple answer. First of all, I'm actually happy that there's still a couple. That's fantastic.
Still the
But
couple. We
that
have
that
lots
that
of,
is a
oh
blessing
my
right
God,
there.
we had lots of, divorce cases in last month.
Right, unfortunately, and we don't have too many marriages because everything's closed. A lot of Yeah, it's true.
Right, right.
I have friends who write to me and they tell me, "Oh my God, they closed everything again, so my marriage is gonna go back again another month or two. What's going on
Okay,
here?" I'm like, "Okay, good luck to
okay.
you, my dear."
Um,
So, but I
make
don't
a,
know if I really do not know if I have a simple answer for George, because some people are very sensitive to the information that comes into them, right?
mhm,
So they try to put barriers, and it's part of a defense mechanism, technically.
mhm, mhm,
You're trying to protect yourself by a defense mechanism is, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to, please do not show it to me.
mhm,
Like it, just like a mask is your defense mechanism when you go to the supermarket, right? So
mhm,
people to some of us, that may look weird. Like, what do you mean you don't want to listen to the news? It's important. It's affecting the world and us.
mhm,
And for some people, is when it becomes very serious and important. I'm sure I will find out. I don't want to watch anything and don't want to hear none of that stuff. And of course, for the other person, is they're very curious. They want to hear the news. Some people are gravitate towards negative news a lot. That is why we sell so many newspapers. That is why news channels always have breaking news, because your ratings goes up to the roof. Because when you have a good news, a lot of people don't watch. That's just a fact.
hmm.
They watch more of the negative news because that's just the way human beings are. We just don't want that negative news to be us, but we want to watch it. And I think, and I think the way to resolve this is literally. I know
That was my
this may
next
sound
question.
funny,
How we can
for
resolve
for
it?
him for him to watch it either on his laptop, maybe with a headset, or
Uh-huh.
in a different room on a different TV set, so it doesn't create a lot of clashes. Maybe set a time aside to watch that only for maybe 30 minutes, because at the end of the day, the relationship is much more important than what we're watching, right? I think.
The relationship is more important than force the partner. You need to
Right.
watch it too.
So unless George is looking for trouble, I think I would advise him turn off the TV and maybe turn on some music and
Right.
respect your partner.
Yeah, play dance music
or
and dance together.
cater,
Play the
right, or
dance
cater
music
more
and
to her
dance
needs.
together.
Right. Well, you decided to get married. You got to pay a price for it.
Thank you
If
so
you
much,
don't get
Doctor.
married, you don't have a problem.
Right, right, I understand. Thank you so
I'm
much,
kidding, of
Dr.
course.
Kate. As
Thank you.
usual, amazing. Thank you. You are great.
Thank you.
And
Wonderful.
yeah,
Good to see you.
yeah, pleasure. And
Hopefully, we
this,
see each other next week.
may, not this week again.
I don't think it's going to happen this week again, but
Okay.
I think for sure next week we'll come up with some
Very good.
time to
Thank you.
maybe your viewers can tell us what is a good topic we can discuss, and
Honestly,
then we
our
can
viewers, they
definitely
want to
discuss
see
that.
you at least 2 3 times a week. And
Uh,
I have a lot of good feedback about you, and lots of
Thank
people,
you.
they really like you. You are
They're too
super
wonderful. Thank you
knowledgeable.
so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah.
Thank
See you
you for
next
your
time.
time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
day.
You too. Bye.